Would you Airbnb a room in your home? It's like having a roommate, right?
But think about it. Like in your situation, you have kids, man. Like you want strangers coming staying in your house. Like,
You're always at my house.
I know, but like
For me, I wouldn't want anybody in my house.
Okay.
Random person.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't even know.
yeah, this podcast's going south, man.
That's the hard part. That's the sad part of what's going on. There are negative consequences associated with those decisions. You gotta be very transparent about it.
You said you're telling people to put up with.
Well, I'll ask you I'll answer by asking you a question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Where does Rabieh get his gel hair
Oh,
from?
His gel hair.
I think he's jealous.
Did you touch it?
He
touch
can't even
it,
speak
please.
English, this guy. Is it that big?
No, it's not that much.
See?
No.
Okay.
Omar's
so,
jealous. Welcome back. I tapped.
This is the tapping episode.
Episode.
I'm
done talking, man.
All right, let's hear
4
it.
seconds in, I'm done.
Yeah, what is it? 12.
12. Well, by the time I was done my sentence. Leave me alone, man. Episode 3.
This is going to be a fun one.
Broke ass millionaires.
What's up, guys?
Broke ass.
Yeah.
We're
Man.
here.
We're here. We're real. So what do you guys want to talk about today? About how my back is messed up, or how
I think it's a good topic actually for people to know. Well, because people call us realtors and everybody thinks our job is easy.
Yeah.
And that we really don't do anything but show houses and close deals, which we do a lot of that, but they don't realize what goes into the background of actually listing these houses, doing
this is a painful
the
job, guys.
Very painful job. Very painful job.
Yeah.
Omar, tell us about
we're
your
gonna have
background.
WSIB here, but
Yeah.
this had nothing to do with the job, though. This
Why,
had
I mean,
everything to
You
do
had a
with
lot of weight on your shoulders. I get it.
this had, oh yeah, you
Weird
know.
angles. I get it.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I barbecued that day, and then I played with my kids in the pool, and then we played horsey. And then I had the brilliant idea of going to play tennis at like 9 p.m. Pretty dark court. And I played against two guys that were really good. And I was on my own. So I was like running back and forth. So the next morning I'm a little bit sore.
But like they're really good by whose standards?
By my standard. Because
Okay,
like,
which doesn't really mean much.
no,
Stop.
like they could hit a bit more than me. Like
As you guys can tell, Omar does not know anything about sports. They could hit a lot more than me.
yeah, I focus my energy and efforts on the love of my family and the love of my business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
I
guy.
don't have
Omar.
time to focus on sports. Yeah, so the next day I was in a little bit of pain. I kind of pushed through. Next thing you know, I'm sleeping on the floor for past 4 or 5 days.
Damn.
Yeah.
Your wife doesn't like you that much.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you're probably used to that, aren't you?
yeah, no, that's a couch. It's
That's
a different
she
story.
usually gives you the couch on
Yeah.
the floor. This time you must have really done something.
Yeah,
That's
really
why you
fucked
got
it
the
up
floor.
for sure.
Yeah. From the room to the guest room to the floor.
What guest room, Omar? Who are you kidding
We have
right
a guest
now?
room.
Oh, do you?
It's a
very-
guest suite.
It's a
actually.
suite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that your office?
Would you
or just-
Airbnb a room in your home?
Personally, no.
I personally wouldn't, but I've talked to a lot of people who say they do or they would. And
Yeah.
apparently it's good money, but like I just don't want a random stranger. It's not alone a random stranger in my house, but like a bunch of random strangers
That's
who
it.
are rotating through my house. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
Like,
you could limit it. It's like having a roommate, right?
but at
Yeah,
least
but
you
like
know you're
think,
the roommate.
think about it. Like in your situation, you have kids, man. Like you want strangers coming staying in your house. Like,
You're always at my house.
I know, but like I'm not exactly a stranger. Like I get it. I'm a bit strange, but
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's just a
Just a
strange
bit.
person.
at least you know me.
yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna take this off because I keep touching the table with it, and it's actually
keeps
Jacob,
tapping.
how bad is this so far? Is the tapping really bad? Are they bugging you?
he's trying
Well,
to
it's
be
funny
nice.
because Omar started with like making a point and tapping like this.
Yeah.
So I went to tap to get his attention to stop tapping, and then I realized I tapped in the process.
Yeah, this
So-
podcast going south, man.
No, this is good. We'll recover. We'll recover.
We'll recover.
All right. We'll recover
Okay.
like the recession. Actually,
Yeah, actually, okay.
that's hitting.
The reason why I'm saying that is
Yeah.
because during a recession, people tend to look for different types of incomes, right? So renting your house or renting a room in your house is the original way of the Airbnb or the Verbo or those things, right?
Yeah.
And it could be really nice. It could be just for a weekend, make a few extra $100 or so. You're adding to the economy. You're adding a bit to your pocket. Why not?
Let's.
Well, what don't you like?
He keeps tapping.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't even know.
No, honestly, listen, I get it. It's just for me, I wouldn't want anybody in my house.
Okay.
Random person. If I had like a basement suite set up separately, then yeah, I'm all for it. Even then, I don't really want to deal with that.
I think it's fantastic.
Like, I think it's a great business.
Yeah.
Why don't you do it? You have a guest room, right? My house is not set
up for it. Yeah. Exactly.
You have a guest suite.
Like, the guest suite is like literally, or the guest room is between two babies.
Yeah.
So
we'll call it the baby experience.
Yeah, exactly. But are you thinking of becoming a parent?
Why don't you come stay at my house in my guest suite, and you won't want to have a baby after that?
Hey, it's pretty niche, man. It might work, you know.
It'll be like a contraceptive.
Yeah.
You experience that for 24 hours when it's not your own kids. You'll be like, yeah, I think I'm good for now.
Well, what you can do, why don't you just have a live-in nanny?
Yeah.
Who will live there for free. But then you won't pay her either because you'll be paying her by her living there in that guest suite, and she'll be between the two babies' rooms.
I don't think it works like that. In the province of Ontario, you actually still have to pay the minimum wage.
Bare minimum
rules.
I think that's what it is. I think you have to pay them. There's like specific rules on that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Just trying to think outside of the box, man.
Okay, so now
can we break it down?
Okay.
Because I think some people might not even know what a recession is or what it actually means, and like what the kind of side effects of that like happening.
I think it's good that we kind of answered the definition of recession, and I don't have my dictionary or my Googly with me, but essentially a recession is defined as 2 consecutive quarters. Yeah, which means 3 months. I just tapped. I know I did. 2 consecutive quarters of negative economic output. Okay, which means that it's a year over year. It doesn't mean that like our whole economy has gone down to like minus. No, it means that
in terms of what, like GDP?
Year over year, GDP has gone down on a quarterly basis. So right now we just released the Q2, like half year, and that was minus 0.2%. So if we release another one saying that we are in another contraction, it's called like when your economy is going down a little bit from the year before, it means it's a contraction. Then we would officially be in a recession.
And it doesn't matter what that number is, because you said minus 1.2. That doesn't sound like
minus 0.2.
Minus 0.2.
Oh, 0.2%. I thought you said.
Yeah. So it could be. Yeah, it's basically we're leveled from last, like the same quarter last year. We're pretty leveled, just on the slightly negative side. But keep in mind that we also have a lot more people in the country. That means our natural output should be a lot higher if it was a hot market, a hot, strong economy. And as a result, that minus 0.2 is actually signaling a bigger recession than we actually are in, like than people think we're in. So data-wise, we're showing a negative 0.2%. So it shows that economically speaking, one quarter to the next, or one variable to the like a comparison, is very, very close. But what's actually happening is that your per capita spending is much, much less. So the output of each person in the country has actually produced less this quarter than they've have the previous year because of how big the population got. Remember, we added 1 million people.
Yeah.
Right? But you could see it everywhere. Like, I'm sure if I start asking you guys about anecdotes about builders, about tenants, about the hairdresser, about anybody, the bike shop, everybody's going to start feeling it. Everybody's already been feeling it. You know? The bakery guys.
Well, you've already seen prices go up pretty much everywhere you go for anything you want, whether it's a service, whether it's something tangible with food, or whatever the case is, because I guess they're feeling the pinch on them, so their prices are going up so they can try and make up for that pinch that they're feeling.
Which is kind of counterintuitive, because you would think that during recession people are going to want to have to provide sales.
Yeah, but I guess they're looking at it like we need to maximize on each sale because there's probably less sales happening. Yeah. So because there's less sales happening, they got to maximize on each individual sale. Hence, the price is going up so they can try and make more money. You're not wrong, though. It is counterintuitive of what you think. It is, yeah. Since there's no money around, let's do cheaper prices and push more volume. Ultimately, I guess you would hopefully by the end of it end up making just the same amount of money, if not more. But
I think the individual, like the individual business is getting a higher overhead in general. So they have to make up for that somewhere in the sales.
Yeah.
Right. or reduce costs somewhere, but they can't reduce costs. Small businesses already are lean. Right?
Yeah, they're playing tight
You
margins.
still need a guy there full time, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're selling $100,000 a year or you're selling $1 million, still need a minimum number of staff to man the post, right? So there's how much can you really cut? And if those people are starting to feel the pinch because you're getting your mortgage payments $500 more, so that means $500 less somewhere else. And where does that go, right?
So you think mainly interest rates is a big factor of that, and then like prior to that, what do you think it was? Like the lack of supply of things, like with COVID and everything.
But the lack
like
of
that.
supply wouldn't necessarily create. Okay, so it
would drive prices up. No,
it would drive
because
prices up. Yeah,
the supply of the goods is not flowing. Like
but it wouldn't create. It could technically create a recession, but it wouldn't. That wasn't.
No, not alone.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just talking like different factors because.
Yeah, we've been hit hard, like nonstop.
Yeah, on all fronts.
Yeah. We survived COVID and then boom, interest rates, right? And then interest rates a year earlier than they were supposed to go up too.
Yeah, and went up a lot more significantly than they were supposed to go up too.
Yeah. They may have started that a little later than they may have should have.
Yeah.
I think it probably should have been like a slow and gradual thing rather than a panic button, raise the interest rates time after time after time.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think in 2021, in like fall 2021, there should have been a series of increases because the economy was doing well.
Yeah.
And you could have nicely phased things in.
Isn't that when they were saying low for long?
No, they said that during like the pandemic, like in 2020. They said that a few times.
Which made sense during the pandemic to keep the rates low. A lot of people weren't working. You wanted to kind of keep the economy flowing and like not bring everything to a standstill. So it made sense, but you could have still gradually over time or a lot sooner just started that gradual increase until.
But the worst part is that the small businesses were eligible for a few different advantages during when COVID first happened, right?
Like to help keep them afloat.
Yeah, and part of that was a loan. It was like a $40,000 or $50,000 loan, and as long as you paid it back within, I think, 3 years or 5 years, you could keep $10,000.
Okay, so they borrow you 40, but you only pay them 30 as long as you pay within the first 3
it was something
years.
like that. Okay, don't quote me.
Quoted.
Okay,
it's on camera.
I think it was a smaller amount they had to get back, and they got to keep a larger sum.
No, it's the other. No,
10K.
10K. Yeah.
10K? Okay.
But now so a lot of people took it, and then now they actually need the money, and they can't pay back that money.
So they're further in the hole.
They're gonna pay exactly.
Yeah.
Because why? Because the interest rates are higher.
Yeah.
And so their business volume is slower, and as a result, they can't keep up with the payments, and then they can't pay off this loan. So then now they're going to lose out. And on like let's say it's 50K, 10K is 20%. That's a significant amount. So then now your loan just. Like you did it for this 10K, for this benefit to fuel your business, and you probably went and did investments associated to that to fuel your business more. And as you're recovering, boom,
slapped.
Yeah, that's the hard part. That's the sad part of what's going on. It's that I find that it's the small business that's getting hammered. We're talking about the average earners. We're talking about the small businesses, the backbone of Canada. Yeah, I sound like America, essentially. But those are the ones that are getting. Those are but those are the ones.
Those the people who they're claiming that they're helping by doing what they're doing.
Does that not constantly happen though? Like it kind of like spreads the gap between like the middle class. Like it just kind of spreads the people that have it.
Yeah,
like the people.
But what's funny, we're saying this. That brings us back to.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what's happening.
It's like like if you got an honest job. Sorry, but you get screwed.
Yeah.
You get screwed. If you're just keep your head down, you're doing your honest job, that's the people that are getting screwed.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it last episode, about how we're talking about how...
This is just a rerun of the last episode.
Yeah, it's just a rerun.
No.
This is the top edition. We're talking about all the same shit.
We just switched
on the tables.
But we just put a table here. It's the same.
No, but like we're talking about how the interest rates, how they've gone up, and it's actually hurting the people who are in lower income ranges.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. Those are the ones the smaller businesses are the ones that are hurting with everything that's going on. And now they're not able to buy homes because their businesses are suffering. They're not making as much money. The interest rates are higher, so they can't afford the bigger down payments that they need. They can't afford the bigger mortgages that they need to pay. So it's just like, but apparently everything that's being done is for the sake of the little guy.
Yeah. And the added problem to that is that like, it's actually making it even farther worse for them, because when they do drop the interest rates, when you look at a housing perspective, all these people are waiting to buy houses. They're waiting until the interest rate comes down. So, okay, they took the hit while the interest rates are high. It starts eating some of their savings. And then when it finally comes down and they're ready to go, now prices are moving at such a rate that they can't keep up.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a never-ending problem.
It's a hamster wheel, right? You're always chasing it.
That's it.
Like, I think about the people, like your example there. I think about the people that signed 5, 10, 20-year contracts downtown Ottawa.
Yeah.
Right? On the premise that the government of Canada is always going to be there. Now, I know there's no contract in place between the government of Canada and you know, mom and pop shop for Patouche or for Shara
Joe next door.
Yeah, or Taco or any of that, right? Jacob Studio. Like, but you paid a high price for this location.
Prime location. Very, very prime.
And when they sold it to you, that's what it was. The whole works, like how many employees, the LRT, the whole works. Lack of LRT.
What LRT?
Exactly.
We'll have an episode just on LRT.
LRT versus Transit Way. That's it. Versus walking. Might be more dependable. And then now those guys invested a lot of money to have a really nice shop in a very expensive location, very busy for a very short period of time of the day. And then that's it. It's all very, very concentrated investment. And then all of a sudden, on a whim,
wiped.
Done.
It's all gone.
It's all gone. And I get the pros and cons, and like, you know, should we feel bad for those businesses, or should we push government employees to go back? It's really anybody's decision except like the government, and that's the employer, and that's what they're seeing what's best for them. But still, there are negative consequences associated with those decisions. When you are a big player, you have a lot of stakeholders, and you really have to factor that in. You got to be very transparent about it.
Yeah.
So in Ottawa, we are going to be in a very different situation than the rest of Canada if we are in a recession. And I think it's going to be very, very beneficial for Ottawa to be part of Canada's recession.
So you think you're saying the recession is a good thing for Ottawa?
The recession is a good thing for Ottawa.
And why is that?
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. Why is that? Because I know our viewers want to know what the hell you're talking about right now.
Yeah. Well,
what you talking about, Willis?
Don't touch a dial, because we'll be right back. We should put like a commercial now.
Yeah. When we get sponsors, we're not there yet.
One day. Okay, so let's go through what happens during recession.
And also clarify, are you just talking like in general, like for people, or are you talking more related to like housing?
Well,
let's talk about
our bread and butter. So it'd be housing. Yeah. But in general, the Ottawa economy will be strong versus other economies throughout Canada. We could look at history, and we could look at. Did I just tap? Yeah. We could look at history. 2015, we had what I would call a soft recession in Ottawa, but it was a booming economy throughout Canada. In 2007, 8, 9, we had the world financial crisis, but Ottawa seemed to have no clue of what was happening.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Housing prices still went up.
House prices were going up.
Yeah.
I bought my first house in 2009, and buddy, there was multiple bids happening in 2008 and 2009 and 2010. Market was so hot in 2012 that those prices persisted up until 2015 when we had our soft recession.
Well, I remember that because I bought my first house in 2011.
Yeah.
And the price stayed steady for the first couple of years. And I was like, oh man, what did I just do with this? What a bad investment I made.
Yeah.
But then as time grew.
But do you know why why in 2013, 14, 15, Ottawa had a very stable market and nothing moved?
Tell me why.
It goes farther back than that though, because you have like 5-year periods where prices basically double, and then you have 10-year periods where it's basically just
stagnant.
Yeah, that's it. Like barely any increase.
But that's linked to political movements. So politically speaking, during a recession, the government spends a lot of money to fuel the Canadian economy. And it's a brush. Right? And they paint everything just like interest rates. They paint everything with the same brush. So those who are in need,
one trick pony.
That's what it is, right? During recessions, the government of Canada spends a lot of money on bridges, and they're going to spend money on the capital, and they're going to spend money on the big cities, and where infrastructure is required, and where hospitals and highways and all that stuff. So you're going to bring a lot of employment to the center, right? Every now and then they'll send money to the prairies and to the east, you know. Oh, fishing.
Less important areas.
Yeah, well, they gotta go where the population is. Okay, but what ends up happening is that you need policy analysts, and you need leadership, and you need all the HQ component of that. So whether that's happening in Manitoba or it's happening in Ottawa, it doesn't matter. You still need the headquarters aspect of it to drive the policy, the think tank, and as a result, you get new jobs in Ottawa. Then you got the tech sector, which is strong. And since the economy is in a recession, the Bank of Canada is going to say, oh, we got to revert course a little bit. Maybe we tightened a little bit. Let's just reduce the dial a little bit. So then they go down 0.25.
So they lower the interest rate to encourage spending in the market.
So then while other cities are having economical issues and they haven't, they're potentially losing jobs or whatnot, in Ottawa, we have it's a stable position and our rates are lower. Yeah. So what do? Let's go shopping.
Yeah. Let's enjoy life.
We go out to dinners, right? We go out.
And a lot of the people that work here, their jobs are so secure that it's like, people aren't losing jobs. They're like you said, they're actually bringing more jobs to the city, which just keeps money in people's pockets.
Yep.
Last thing anyone's going to give up is
So if the government and the tech are strong, they fuel other businesses. The hairdresser, I always use that as an example because it's like a everyday occasion. The coffee shop, the real estate agent, the local realtor, So it fuels a whole slew of slew, not flu.
He's got the flu on his mind.
Yeah. It's flu season's coming up.
Yeah.
Are
You're just preparing?
Are we going to talk about should we get vaccinated? Chill out. Is that
It's not a political podcast
for TV.
So that's what I'm saying is that these economies are going to be struggling. So the government and the Bank of Canada are both going to provide incentives. And as a result, Ottawa is going to benefit significantly. So if I was a betting man, I'd say if you bought a property in this fall or early winter, you'll make a really good dime on it in the next couple of years for sure.
I find I have a lot of people that come and they say, oh, well, the housing market's going to crash just like, 2008 without realizing that never actually happened here.
Never happened.
Right. And also completely different set of circumstances when that happened. Like it's a completely different thing happening.
And it did happen throughout the world, okay? Because everything was all tied in together. Portugal, Ireland, Greece, Spain, the United States, China. A lot of it felt it significantly, and not even all of the U.S., like certain pockets of the U.S. And a lot of it had to do with the way that you lent money. But in the same time, it also had to do with how Wall Street was betting on your mortgage and the domino effect of that. That movie that discusses this, The Big Short.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic way of explaining it. I love that movie. I've watched it a few times.
Not a paid sponsorship.
It's not at all, but it's a really good movie. Good. I'd say it's almost a documentary. Like it's, maybe there's, I would say the majority of it is really, really good. Fact-wise.
Factual,
yeah. It's Omar approved.
Oh, thank God. I don't watch anything that's not Omar approved.
Oh, good, yeah.
Slim pickings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like during a recession, for instance, I'm just thinking like, are you going to keep buying as much hair gel as you normally do?
Probably. Because I'm going to be going to the barber less because I don't have money to cut my hair. So my hair's going to grow longer. So I was just wondering. To take that money.
Yeah.
This is not a lot of hair gel. Come feel it.
No, I don't.
It's not hard. It's
really bad for my back. Let me see this. Folks, it's a lot of hair gel. It's a lot.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I'll just stick with my local barber.
Yeah. You probably need one.
Oh, I need
what, a barber or some hair gel?
Both.
Exactly. Do you want me to look like Elliott? Is that what you want my hair to look like, Omar?
No, please.
Okay.
We already got one.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, we don't need two.
Plus, you look like this, you get shit on all the time. It's crazy.
It's okay.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions on your mind about that? I know. I spun on that. I spun that on you.
No, I mean, it all makes sense because I feel like back in 2008, we talked about it already. I remember I wasn't in the car industry yet, but I knew a few people in the industry.
Yeah.
And when everybody else was tanking, they actually were setting records here in Ottawa.
Oh,
because everybody was working, right? We have a stable economy within just the city itself. We have government workers whose jobs are extremely stable.
Yep.
And we have a lot of people in different sales industries, whether it's car industries, whether it's real estate, whether it's appliances. I don't know. I just feel like we didn't feel it the same way as everybody else did. So, and just the way you kind of presented it, how they're bringing money into the bigger cities.
Yeah.
It's funny calling Ottawa a big city because nobody who lives in Ottawa really thinks of it as a big city. But I mean,
the mentality's got to change though.
Yeah. But yeah, so it makes a lot more sense as to why that is, because there's only so much you can chalk up to government workers in the city and trade workers in the city, and that makes a lot of sense as to why everything was kind of on the up and up.
So it's interesting that you bring that example as like the auto sector, and so it's a sector like I wouldn't have thought of, but that's a very, very good example.
Yeah,
and because that I find housing and autos are a very good indication of the health of the economy.
Yeah. Did we ever actually talk about? I don't think we've talked about this number one indicator of the health of the economy.
What?
I think you and I talked about this before.
What is it? What? Your hair gel?
Not my hair gel, but actually, I don't remember where I saw this. Somewhere on social media, but they're saying that strippers are actually the number one tell of the actual strength of the economy.
Strippers,
yeah. Because there's.
So should we do a field trip and just go like?
Hey, if you want,
I'll
I'll sit outside if you want to keep my microphone and camera outside. You guys can go.
You're not allowed.
No. But basically they were saying is that they'll be the first people to know that something is going wrong because they're seeing less and less people in there spending their money. I know it sounds stupid. I don't remember where I heard it. It could have been Joe Rogan or some other random podcast. I don't know.
It kind of makes sense.
But yeah, well, that's where your disposable income is going,
economy,
right?
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Yeah,
so when there's not enough money to be thrown around, then less and less people are going to be going to establishments like that.
Yeah, because somebody was arguing, oh no, like weed sales or LCBO sales, beer stores should go down. And I said actually during the recession they go up.
Yeah.
During the pandemic we saw increases in those.
Yep.
Oh.
And we saw inflation actually go up on all those items.
Yeah.
And I'm going
big time.
Yeah. So the government of the government of Ontario, which regulates LCBO and beer store, increased prices. Yeah. Now I don't know if it's a result of the supplier increasing their prices or
robbery.
But technically, if we're all talking about from a government standpoint that inflation is a persistent issue, and one of the key indicators of inflation is alcohol and marijuana, you should do your part too. Maybe don't increase as much. You know? I find municipalities though and the province are having a hard time with the Bank of Canada's decision to increase the rates from a financial standpoint, because they have to manage budgets, and if there's not enough house sales, there's not a lot of land transfer tax being collected, and as a result their administration is being choked by budget. Did you know that?
So they're fucking themselves over.
True,
yeah.
Nice. Themselves.
Yeah, they are.
I never thought of it.
Oh, we said it last time, man. Like they're being counterproductive with what they're doing.
Yeah. Telling you, man, targeted policies is the way to go. And
you get this guy in Parliament, man.
Bam.
Like get him in there.
I don't know that I would vote for him, but you might.
I mean, me neither, but like, get him in.
Just get him in. Yeah, I speak the truth.
Get him to go stir some shit up and then walk away.
That's it.
But you know what? Why not? That's kind of what you need.
Yeah.
Because the old mentality is starting to fade away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just today I'm just a bit peeved that every policy we've taken as a nation, as a government, as a Bank of Canada, etc., is hurting those who we claim to help, and that really grinds my grinds my gears. There's a Family Guy episode.
Yeah. I know that one.
You know what grinds my gears? Yeah.
So you said that if you were a betting man, you'd be buying this fall.
I'd be buying this fall
winter
/ early winter, yeah.
Because as a result of the recession, interest rates, all these things you just mentioned, right?
Yep.
So you're telling people to put up with the interest rates for now in the short term because you believe that next year, late next year, whenever it ends up happening, you're expecting that they will recover their money.
Well, I'll ask you I'll answer by asking you a question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Where does Rabieh get his gel hair from?
His gel hair. The guy can't even,
I think he's jealous.
He can't even speak English.
Did you touch it?
He can't even speak English, this guy. Is it that bad?
No, it's not that bad.
See?
No.
Okay.
Omar's jealous.
I'll answer you.
Thank you.
I'll answer you by asking you a question.
Yeah.
In January, February, March, April.
Yep.
Rates went down by 0.5%.
Wait, say that again, sorry.
Interest rates went down by 0.5%.
The fixed rate.
Yeah, you're right.
And March, historically,
yeah,
always the lowest interest rates of the year. I was speaking with our proud promotion. The mortgage broker I work with, he was telling me that historically he was looking back and March is always the lowest point for interest
It's rates. High competition for the banks, right? They compete against each other. It's the volume.
Busiest time in the market.
Yeah. Just grab it all kind of thing. And then they pad their stuff in the summers usually or early winter. Now, it went down 0.5%.
Okay.
That's a significant decrease.
Yep.
What happened?
The market got busy.
The
market got hot. Multiple offers.
How hot?
Recovered by 10%.
There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
exactly.
I got you.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you. I got you.
Yeah, fuck me, guys.
Yeah. If only you answered the question next time.
I didn't know you were looking for a percentage point.
I was. Was I not specific? Viewership, please comment below here.
No, but the market picked up, right? Now we're actually going to end year over year looking like a positive.
Exactly.
Even though everybody's saying that the market's going to collapse.
So what does that tell you?
That tells me that next year we're probably in for the same thing.
Exactly.
If the interest rates are coming down. I think the demand is just way too high. Way too high.
Regardless of the interest rate at this point.
Well, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
So question one.
Talk to me.
Well, wait, let me pose it this way.
Yeah.
Does that look good on camera? Yeah. Question one. Interest rates are stable. And question two is interest rates are down by 0.5%.
Mm-hmm.
Interest rate fixed rates at 3 years is 5% versus fixed rates at 3 years are 5.8%. But not expected to go up. Yeah. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The sentiment is that it's going to stay the same.
If it's going to stay the same, and the other one is it's going to go down, what will happen to the market? I'll ask Rabieh and then I'll ask you.
So what you're saying is if it's at 5 for 3 years, or it's at 5.85.
So we're expecting. Let me ask you again.
Yeah.
So rates are going. People are going to be like, "What the fuck is this guy saying?"
Get a whiteboard right.
Yeah. Okay. Numero. Okay. So if the market sentiment that the rates are going to persist where they're at now, or market sentiment is that rates are going to go down.
Okay.
Will it have a different effect on the market and the housing prices in the next 12 months? Rabieh, for $500, please.
So I think...
Would you like to pick a vowel?
I think regardless of the rates, if they're going to stay consistent and persist at that 5.85 and there's no sentiment of it going up, but it's going to stay steady.
Yeah.
Or if it's going to go down. I think if it's going to go down, people are going to try and wait to catch it at a decline. Whereas at 5.85, people are going to say, okay, it's not going to move. Maybe I'll just jump in now before it goes higher. I think either way, our issue is not our rate. I think our issue right now is our supply and our lack thereof. So that's what I mean. Like regardless of the rate right now, once people see a little bit of stability in that rate, they're going to jump in. So that's what I mean. Whether it's at 5.85 and we think it's going to stay there, or whether it's at 5 and we think it's going to go down, or whatever the case is, until you see it go down, I don't think it's going to explode. But I think if
I agree.
Constant, people are still, we're seeing it right now. People are still buying because there's no supply. The hot houses are going like that.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that people get used to it, right? So like the interest rates, they're used to them being high right now, so they're kind of coming to terms with it. Whereas when the interest rate was moving up like relatively quickly, they were like, oh, but like just a year ago, in their mind they're like 2% less than a year ago, so that's like a huge increase for them, so they're gonna wait. But then you see now
it's been
coming up on a year, the rate is relatively the same. Now we had a couple increases this year, but because it's been relatively stable, people are more likely to be jumping into the market to do it. And I think the difference, I think you're absolutely right. I think that if there's no expectation for it to go up, the market has a stable increase, maybe 5 to 10%.
But what if we said, okay, well, I'm a buyer and I'm going, you know what? Why don't I just rent? The prices have gone down, but it's not down enough, and it's going to crash. And when the rates go down, then I'm gonna.
The price of rent is
exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Paying just as much as you would pay on your mortgage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
So
rent.
I think we discussed this last time or one of our first episodes, because we've had so many now.
One of our first.
Subscribe now.
Bro, we entered with episode 3.
Yeah. I know, but they don't remember.
We're not fooling them.
Maybe they like listen like halfway through or something. Yeah. No, I don't remember what I was saying.
Jeez.
What was I saying?
We talked about it. Rent is actually going up very quickly.
Rent. Yeah. As rent approaches a coverage ratio, like as rent covers more and more of the landlord's cost of like a 20% kind of down payment, 30-year amortization, as the rents are creeping up to those numbers, the more that you'll see stability in the market and an upward trend. Your hair? Because think about it. It's a stabilized market, right? That's about 20% of your buyers are usually investors. 50% of your buyers are first-time buyers.
50%.
50. So if 20% comes in, there's always a bit of first-time buyers that are coming in.
Yeah.
It creates a bit of a stability to it, because investors come and see an opportunity during high interest environments. They see an opportunity of people's reluctance to get into the market. So then they buy a 3-story and rent it out for $2,200 or $2,500. They spend $500,000. Right, that's exactly what you're seeing.
What's funny though, we're seeing a scarcity of homes on the rental market now too.
Well, because and people are having a harder time qualifying.
Yeah.
The rules are becoming tougher and tougher on the qualification standard.
Yeah.
They're making it
on the buy side.
On the buy side,
yeah. But I'm also finding that landlords aren't happy with people's income to actually cover their rent as well. And I'm like, the people have decent jobs too. Like they're not making like 6 figures over, but like,
but man, some landlords are asking for more documentation than the bank would.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, for sure.
Yeah.
I've been saying it. It's harder to do a rental sometimes than it is to do a buy with somebody.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
you because you have a person you need to please in order to like get
they don't
the
have
deal
actual
done,
criteria.
Right?
They have a criteria, but it's very subjective.
The bank gives a shit if you can afford it.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much it. They take your income, they run their ratios, and there you go.
There's no discrimination.
That's
right?
it. Yeah. All of a sudden, I have a Chihuahua.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting accepted, even though I make $20,000 a month and the rent's too. You know what I mean? Like whatever the case is, you could be the perfect tenant, but all of a sudden you have a dog. No good.
Yeah.
Like
whatever the case is,
and that
right?
mentality, like okay, we manage a lot of properties, right? We've seen certain situations where pets are
of course,
negligent, or like the owners of the pets are negligent.
I would argue kids are worse sometimes.
Yeah. But exactly. But we've seen also like families and young couples and older couples. We've seen it all, right?
Yeah.
So to say that, people with pets, but like landlords try to like minimize their risk, just like a bank would, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're buying a house, you're putting in a down payment and you're the one losing the money.
That's
anything, right? Whereas once you rent, you're on a contractual basis and you're kind of done, right?
Also, the tenant board here in Ontario is very much in the tenant's favor. So like a lot of the time, like if you're not careful with taking the risk up front, like that could come burn you in the end as a landlord,
It's true.
Okay. I hear this often, that the tenant and landlord, the landlord and tenant board is in favor of the tenant. I don't think so. I think they do make some concessions. Okay, but they look at it from a business perspective and a law perspective. So they go, okay, will it be detrimental to the landlord if this happens, or will it be detrimental to the tenant if this happens? They look at it more from a social perspective, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I wouldn't say that they are in favor of the tenants.
Maybe I clarify. The rules are obviously made up for a reason, right? Like you don't want to leave somebody homeless, for example, right? But with those rules in play, some tenants take advantage of them,
correct,
and use them against the landlord
as a manipulation or whatever, or extortion.
Exactly. So of course, not every situation it's like leaning that direction, but because like the rules are there, right? People can use them to their advantage. And then in that situation,
and there are tenants that do that, and then you got landlords that do that.
That's it.
And the rules have been clarified, call it to speak, because people have abused it on either side.
Yeah,
right?
And I think because one side abuses it, the other side is then, well, here's these horror stories, so they're like, okay, well, I'm just going to do it because they're just going to do it to me, and then it's back and forth, correct. And then now we're in that situation.
If our if that judicial system was smooth and was efficient and fast.
Keyword. These issues.
Exactly. You would get rid of it. I would rather that they say, okay, every application or every new tenancy, you got to pay $100 to the board. Something.
Yeah.
Okay. I would rather that as like a licensing fee or a registration fee or something. And you register every lease and you let the board have a little bit more money. You fund it that way.
Yep.
And have it that it's freaking quick. Within the month, you didn't pay, there's a hearing right away.
Yeah.
And there's a sheriff that comes in to enforce and to decide who is right, who is wrong 100%. Right away. If the landlord abused a right of the tenant, come in right away and solve it right away. Yeah. There shouldn't be this nuance of it might be 2 months, it might be 9 months, who knows?
Yep.
We'll get to when we get to it.
Yeah. And the whole time they're still taking advantage of it. Like some people, that's make or break for them. Like I know somebody that had a tenant stop paying. Yeah. They go to landlord tenant board. Almost 9-10 months before the actual hearing, before they actually even start getting it sorted.
Yeah.
During that time, landlord's responsible for. I think I'm tapping while I'm talking. Fuck.
You're just pissed off.
You're looking at me like the tapping.
No, we brought it up at first. Yeah. But during that whole period leading up to when that actually gets initiated, the landlord's responsible for paying everything. The mortgage and the bills, and they have their own house that they have to live in. So in some situation, that puts them in such a tight position where now that investment is no longer a great investment because they had to put up with that because of how slow
those are the horror stories you hear about in the media. But they make it sound like it's every.
It's not even in the media though. I've seen it with clients, right?
Look, I've had those personally.
I understand it's not every day, and you have to understand when you become a landlord, it's a business. There's risks in business, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've had great experiences with any of my tenants. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Pray.
Yeah, pray. But just to show you the other side of the spectrum, right? Let's not look at it all as negative. I've had multiple tenants who literally would call me and be like, "Hey, I'm going to be out of town for a few months. Here's my next few months of rent." Because I'm not going to be here to pay it to you.
That's nice.
Or like I wake up at like to a ring on my phone at like midnight and like the e-transfer is going through and like I don't have to ask them for rent type of thing. So there's the good side of the spectrum. Of people are going to take care of the house like it's their own because they want to live in it. They want to stay there long term. I think it's all about building relationships.
Huge.
With your tenants, right? At the end of the day, you go meet them. Like I have some tenants right now and they had just recently come to the country. Christmas time, I went checked in on them. I brought them like a little like basket. I brought them like some Lebanese sweets, and they're like over the moon about it.
Mm-hmm. Those are fantastic.
They are amazing, right? They couldn't believe how much sugar was in them. I should have warned them not to give it to their kids that night. Yeah. But and then they called me on Christmas, and they're like, "Hey, we have like a plate of food for you. You told us you like this kind of food, so you know what I mean." So I have a good relationship with them.
Yeah,
and that goes a long way.
Yeah, and so
it goes a very, very long way.
I think it's important for a landlord to be involved, even if you're going to get a realtor to rent your home, even if you're going to get somebody to
represent you
and manage your property. I think it's not bad to kind of be involved and show face. It kind of takes away from the corporate aspect of rentals and property management companies.
With our property management firm, we also try to have a relationship with tenants.
Yeah.
Because I find that like at times we're so busy and then like, you know, it becomes very administrative.
Yeah.
And then you start to lose touch with it's no longer an individual to an individual conversation. It's like an email to email.
Yeah.
And it becomes the smallest little thing could become a big problem. And there's no care, there's nothing. But keep in mind that being a landlord is a business.
Yeah.
Right? And there are risks and rewards to that business. But the risks of somebody taking the landlord hostage, like taking their property hostage up until a judicial review, I find that's not fair.
No.
But on the flip side, I also find it's not fair for the tenant that have really bad landlords. And we have all these damn rules because some people really abused it.
Did you hear about those two girls in Toronto? They're living in the apartment and their landlord increased their rent by $7,000.
No way.
Well, initially apparently it was like $3,500 and then they complained or something, so then he raised it by $7,000.
Yeah.
Damn.
But look, if somebody raised your rent by $3,000, he's trying to tell you
get out.
Get out.
Yeah.
Right? Exemption, no exemption. Like the rule
but it's not right because now they're gonna go out and now they're gonna have to pay so much more in rent to something new. You know what I mean? Like,
but the thing is, they probably own a unit or a house or something that is rent control exempt, so it's past November 2018,
which is exactly what it was.
Okay, so if that's the case, and he wants to raise I'm assuming it's a he. But they went and
I remember, sexist.
No, I remember reading.
Oh my
I remember
God.
reading
and it's on camera.
Okay,
oh my days.
Okay,
we can't edit it out.
Curly hair, the curly hair mafia over here is coming after me. Yeah. He like that landlord should just be like increasing the rates, the rent based on the prevailing market rates, right? Like whatever's happening in the area.
Yeah.
There's no way somebody could tell me it's gone up by $3,000 or $7,000.
No, it's ridiculous. Well, his mortgage probably has because he's probably on a variable rate and he can't make his payment.
$3,000 per month.
Well, yeah, not $3,000 per month, but
we've had some like that, but like not.
Yeah,
it's gotta be.
He's just being greedy.
No, but maybe there's more to it than
who knows?
Just face value, right? Like
it
maybe they're damaging the property and he needs them out. Like it could be many factors, right?
Exactly.
So it's not
like
always
the message is he wants them out. It has nothing to do with the 3,000 or 7,000.
Yeah,
he's just saying,
them out.
It's within my rights to increase it by this much for you to stay here. Based on what I'm seeing.
Keyword
for you. Yeah. Anyways, but. Something like that is going to hit the media. It's going to go to politics. They're going to start discussing it. Well, people are allowed to do it, but why should they be allowed? And then they're going to pin it to one party or the other. And then we're going to have rent control and everything. But you have too much control, too much of a social aspect to housing. And it becomes that builders are not going to build.
I think even rent control kind of sucks though. Like if you're an investor, right, and you get a tenant in, and of course like they can be in there for let's say 10 years. 10 years later, like I think you should be able to get market rent. Like you should be able to like kind of move it up with the market because that's what you bought the property for. Like you bought it as an investment, no?
Yeah, but supply and demand and this. So that's the thing. Do you do social aspect to rent or no? Because this is the hardest part about being a landlord and using properties as an investment. Because on one side, you are encouraged to use it as an investment, use real estate as an investment. And on the other side, housing is a social requirement, right? So you are in the business of providing housing for a profit. And the government comes in and limits the profit for existing tenancies. Certain other province probably, limits that profit also between tenancies.
But maybe that adds to the problem, right? Because if all these people are holding on to their tenancies, that now means that is basically never going to come back on the market for somebody else to rent, right? So the actual like circulation of properties is kind of stagnant because everybody that has good rent right now is basically not going to move because they're going to just hold on to it, right? Which then would that not further increase the price of new rentals that are coming to the market.
Correct. If you could get top rent, then you're gonna pay top dollar for that property.
That's it.
And so all of a sudden now those properties are very expensive, which makes it lucrative for people to buy these old properties with long-term tenancies in them at a very low price and build a big ass condo on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. So you see, like, it's a catch-22. If the tenancy evolved over time, then the property owner would sell their property at top dollar. If they can't sell it at top dollar and they're not getting the tenancy out of it, like the proper rent to cover their costs, then they're going to sell it, and it's going to be such a good price that developers are going to say, I'm just going to tear it down and build on it. So then what you're doing is you're actually removing affordable units.
Yeah, because they're building brand new units.
I figured out our social problem, Rabieh.
They should really run for politics.
Yeah, how do we get them in
You've
there?
got all the answers. You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to exist. I really appreciate
Subscribe
it.
now, guys. Oh, fucking no. That's it.
No, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like, when you look at the market right now, most places who have renters in there are not selling because what people are trying to sell them for is not going to cover what the renter in there is paying.
And you could look over to the house next door, and that's vacant or whatever.
Exactly, or it's owner occupied, whatever the case is.
Yeah. So that's why I think, like, politically, we always focus on one problem at a time. We're not doing root cause analysis. We're not actually getting down to the crux of it. Like, we're always just like doing band-aid solution,
kicking it down the road.
Yeah, and leaving it to the next election. It's a problem for them. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't want to ruff any feathers. Oh, it's a problem. But we have to follow the dollar, right? We got to follow it. And if you don't follow the dollar, somebody's not going to have the incentive to produce what you want them to produce. And you are as strong as your weakest link, right? So if you have a very strong, chain, very, very strong chain, and you got one link in there that's weak and can only hold 20 pounds, the chain could be made out of cast iron and very strong and can lift, each individually can lift so much, but now it can only lift 20 pounds max, because otherwise that one link is going to break the whole thing. I didn't tap. I just hit the microphone. I just smashed the microphone. It's the editing for this one. For this one,
it's gonna be a tough one.
Jacob's charging us a lot of money.
Yeah. Jacob in his mind, he's like,
"You see how happy?
He looks so happy. He's like, I wish he turned the camera around so everybody could see his smile right now. Well, it's all this inflation. It's hurting him. He needs more money. He can't pay rent, so he's gonna charge us extra now.
For sure.
Yeah, why coming for Jacob? He lets us come here and record. So, like,
what do you mean he lets us? Man. We pay him.
Of course,
he
but
gets
like,
money for
he
this.
could also say, "I'm fully booked. You guys can't come. Sorry."
I mean, he could, but
then he can't pay rent.
Then he won't have the money to pay rent. Exactly.
Then he has to Airbnb a portion of this studio.
He doesn't want to do that.
No.
All because the recession's coming.
Yeah, the recession, which is going to be good for Ottawa.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you live in Ottawa, be excited for recession.
Unfortunately, but look, it's going to be a mild recession throughout Canada, unless, like, Bank of Canada is really, like, just playing hooky or whatever, playing chicken.
So what do you say to the people who are saying that, okay, they held the rates this time, but they're going to go up on the next announcement? Because I'm hearing a lot of that coming from people too.
It is possible that it goes up, but the economy is a negative. Like, we already shown signs of negative production. I think now that more and more of the new population increases are making its way into the economy, which also means into the jobless rates, you're going to see unemployment rates going up. Inflation is going to start to level off. We're not going to see huge drastic decreases in inflation, because obviously we have a new carbon tax that adds to the inflation. That's on the next episode.
I think now that they've come out and, like, said it, though, like, they'll probably just hold it for a while, no, until something.
They're not going to admit it,
happens.
man. Like, I know they're, like, leaning toward, they're saying it, they're hinting this and that.
Yeah.
But they're not going to come and say it straight up, because if they do, then people are going to say, "Oh, great, I'm just going to go shopping." That's what happened. Low for long. They said low interest rates for long.
Yeah.
It fueled the whole market. Oh yeah, that's fine. So I could do variable.
Yeah.
Like 70% of mortgages were variable. It never was that high.
I'm sorry, but if interest rates are at 2% and you're going like variable, unless it's for specific flexibility purposes, like.
But I mean, you're under 2% when you went variable.
Yeah, like
it was great.
But do you expect it to go lower? Is what is
you
my
don't
point.
expect it to go lower,
No,
but you're
just
still paying almost a full % less in some cases.
Like you're just benefiting of the really cheap terms, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you didn't even have a chance to think about the rates going up. Like, but it didn't just move. Like normally it goes up by 0.25, 0.5. No, this time it just bam, 1%, bam,
done.
Broadcast millionaire, bam.
I actually
had crazy that
I had clients. I went to a listing appointment. I've had 2 people tell me that
this guy's bragging right now on the show.
All these listing appointments.
Yeah, I'm bragging about doing my job. I'm bragging about doing my job. That's crazy. Okay, anyways,
so hypothetically speaking.
Okay, so if I ever had a listing, and they told me that they wanted to go lock in, and the lenders were telling them not to. Oh, it's gone up. Like, relax. You'll be okay. You know, put them in shit positions. That's a tough situation.
Part of it is I've seen a lot of that too. Not where the lender necessarily told them don't, but they kind of made it sound a lot more appealing to the variable.
But like, who knew?
But that's what I was getting. Who knew?
Who knew?
How many of the lenders that we work with do you know who are on variable themselves right now?
Like
most of them, because they all believed in what they were telling people, what they were advising people, right? So
like I don't even think the Bank of Canada knew.
No,
like it was so crazy, and every time
today,
you know who did know? My wife.
She told you,
She wouldn't let me.
Well, Rabieh,
thank God she controls everything I do. I'm just joking. But
I always tell you, she's always right. You always tell me, no, she's not. He always says that.
She was right on this one. I want to go variable on 2 properties, and she's like, no. But look, it's a full % less. Even if it goes up by 1% in the next year, we'll still be fine. We'll have saved money, and that'll actually be almost the difference, and we'll be where we started. So we'll make it different. No. And so I thank her every day now. I actually don't thank her every day, but once in a while, I got to thank her for making sure we went fixed.
Rabieh loves his wife.
Yeah.
Did you do something wrong or something today?
I did a lot of things wrong.
Is that why? Hopefully, is that why you're giving her a shout out? Is this a paid promotion?
What's happening? I'm anticipating in the next few weeks I'm going to do something wrong, and this episode's going to be released in those few weeks. And so at that point,
the link's ready to put.
And then this will come up. It's all about planning ahead, guys. It's all about foresight.
Smart. He's gonna put it. He's gonna put it on the TV when she's walking by. Just did you hear that?
Wait, let's rewind this. How I said you were the best. Yeah. And then now my girl is gonna be like,
his girl, not even his wife.
I was gonna say,
what is this? Which girl are we talking about here, Omar?
I want to sound cool.
Now he's gonna be in the doghouse.
Well, I was gonna be in the doghouse anyways because you're talking great about yours.
Say something nice about your wife.
She is the best.
Man, Elliott.
Actually,
100%.
I have a client who's a cop. He's like 6'2", something like that. Big guy.
He's got clients.
And his wife is like half his height. You know? And so he's like this big macho cop guy. And then he goes, "I'm the man of the house, as long as my wife says it's okay." Always. I love relationships, man. I love this relationship.
Do you love to love?
I love to love. Yeah.
Wow, good guy.
Yeah. I want to know what love is.
This took a dark turn.
Well, you want to do the closing remarks?
No, I don't want to. Elliott, you do the closing remarks. You're straight ahead on the camera. I think it works better.
All right, guys.
Just make sure that you tell them to subscribe now. And
just
like
make sure you
button.
move your hands down so they can actually see you.
We're gonna get a lot of tapping in here.
Tapping in here. Right?
No more.
Yeah.
So recession.
That's been your update.
So to close things off, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take over for Elliott here. Based on what Omar's saying, I don't know if he's right or he's wrong. I think I'm really hopeful that he's right. But a recession could be a good thing for Ottawa. It'll stimulate the economy. It'll be busier here based on a lot of different factors, whether it be the stability of the government, trades, the tech industry, the government.
Yeah, you got it.
So just to kind of summarize that up. Long story short, it's a great time to buy a house. Don't worry about the interest rates, whether they go up or down. The supply is staying low. So when there's a rarity, when there's a commodity is very rare and you've got that in your possession, it will be worth more money down the road.
Yeah.
Would you like to add anything to that, Omar?
Subscribe
now, of course. Thank you so much for your attention, for your viewership. We really appreciate it. We've had tons of likes on Instagram, so I'm loving
this
the
guy's
love.
Gone Hollywood. Don't let
Hollywood.
don't let him act humble.
Did you notice you got more likes when you collaborated with us?
It's weird to collaborate with people.
It's actually because he wasn't the only one talking.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what it is too.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So then
he doesn't care, bro. As long as he's got the likes, that's all that matters.
Oh, did you see my likes? Yeah, I'm Hollywood now.
Hilarious.
No, thank you guys, and looking forward to more episodes with you guys, and hopefully, maybe the next one or the one after, we could get a guest and grill them.
Yeah.
Maybe
grill some meat.
Grill some meat, yeah.
And
we should do one that's outside. And we should do different locations. Just try them out.
Yeah.
And
are you telling that to our viewers?
Telling that to our
viewers. I think we should leave it as a supply.
I would have just surprised them.
A supply.
Because now they're gonna have an expectation. If we don't meet that expectation,
and if you don't do it, you fucking lie.
It's all on you.
You're done.
Why is it on me? We're having a conversation. We're letting them into our living room to have a conversation with us. This is not a living room, but
all right. So maybe we cut that last part out. Good talking to you guys. That's the end of the podcast.
Thanks, guys.
Fucking Omar.